Hello, students. So, we are again continuing with the same chapter, that is body movements. Today, we will learn about the muscle contractions and the movement of the bone at the joints. In this context, we will learn about the bending and straightening of the arms. So, the muscle contraction or due happens as a result of which the movement of the bones happens at the joint. Now muscle is the fibrous tissues in the body which has the ability to contract. It is been asked to do by the brain. Ultimately, brain is the main organ of our body which gives the different instructions. So when a muscle contracts, it shortens means it becomes smaller. On the other hand, muscles are attached to the bones of our skeleton. If you visualize the structure of the skeleton inside the body, it is the bony framework. But when we look at the body, we don't see the skeleton, because on the skeleton the bones and the muscles, they are attached in such a manner so that, and also the skin of course, so that we can't see the skeleton. So the muscle attached to the bone contracts, it pulls the bone, due to which the bone moves at a joint. So what is happening? First, muscle which is getting attached or which is attached with the bone, they contract. Due to the contraction, they pull the bone. Due to the pulling of the bone, they are moving at the joints. Now we must know a fact, that is a muscle which can only pull a bone but it cannot push it. So another muscle has to be attached to the same bone, has to contract to move it in the opposite direction, because it can only pull, muscle can only pull the bone. So in order to bring the muscle to its another, say normal or say original state, another muscle has to pull the bone. Here I am telling you how. That is, the muscle has to contract to move it in the opposite direction. That means two muscles or for a pair of muscles work together to move a bone. The muscle joined to our bones work in pairs. That is, two muscles are working for a bone. So when one muscle of the pair contracts or it becomes shortens, then the other muscle, which is the part of the pair, they stretched or they gets relaxed. So the stretched state of the muscle is also called as the relaxed state. So a contracted muscle, which is also a shortened muscle, cannot come back to its original state or relaxed state on its own. So, a contracted muscle can only come back to its original state only when the other muscle of the pair pulls it back by contracting itself. Because two muscles or a pair of muscles are attached with the bone. So, obviously, when a muscle gets getting contracted, it is pulling the bone. Now in order to come back to its relaxed state, only the other pair or other muscle of the pair has to contract in its way, so that the initial muscle can come back to its relaxed state. So when a muscle contracts, it shortens, but when a muscle stretched, it relaxes or it lengthens. So the movement of the body part or the locomotion part is brought about by the alternative contraction and stretching of the muscles which are attached to the movable bones of the skeleton. So we can see that when the muscles pull on the bones or by contracting, they produce movement such as moving the head, bending of arm, or say straightening of arm, or say walking or running. The contraction of the muscle, which also can bring about the movement, it is actually or it is specifically controlled by the brain. So as an example of how our body parts move by the action of the muscles joined to the bones, um, that I will describe with the bending and straightening of the arms. So, we are going to the part of bending and straightening of the arm. Now, our arm consists of two parts, that is, upper arm and the lower arm, and these two are joined by the elbow. So, the upper arm has one bone. The top end of the upper bone is joined to the shoulder blade by ball and socket joint. These things already you know. This is a recap. That means the top end of the upper arm is of containing which bone? Humerus. That is joined to the shoulder blade by ball and socket joint. Similarly, the lower arm has two bones. What is the two bones? The radius and ulna. The upper arm bone and the lower arm bone are joined by elbow, which is by a hinge joint. So the upper arm bone has a pair of muscle called the bicep and tricep on its two sides, which I will show you in the figure here. Bicep and the triceps. So the upper end of both the muscles, that means the both the biceps and the triceps, it is attached to a fixed bone called shoulder blade. How they can be attached with the shoulder blade? With the help of the tendons. So the lower end of both the muscles are attached to the bones of the lower arm by the tendon. Okay, now we are describing, that is how the with the help of the muscles the arm can be moved. Now when we want to bend the arm, suppose we want to bend the arm, the bicep muscle contracts. Contract means it becomes shorter. The contraction of the bicep muscle then pulls the lower arm bones, due to which the lower arm moves up. Even you can do it by yourself also. So the bicep muscle is called here the flexor muscle. Why it calls the flexor muscle? Because it flexes or bends the arm. Now, when the bicep muscle contracts and bends the arm, the tricep muscle stretches or relaxes the arm. That means when the bicep muscle contracts the arm, that time the tricep muscle is relaxed. Again, when we want to straighten the arm, the tricep muscle contracts. That means it becomes shorter and fatter. So the contraction of the tricep muscle pulls the lower arm bones at the end, due to which the lower arm bone moves out and straightens. So ultimately what is happening, that is tricep muscle, which are also called as extensor muscle. Why? Because it extends or it straightens the arm. So definitely it has to be noted that when the tricep muscle contracts and straightens the arm, then the bicep muscle stretches and relaxes the arm. So it is alternatively what you can see, alternative movement of contraction and relaxation. That is the alternatively contraction relaxation of biceps and triceps muscles which can bend or straighten the arm. That is, like we can move the lower arm up and down. And in this context, please, you have to note that the bicep and the tricep muscles just bend and straighten the arm. Here is the diagram or the picture you can see, that is when the bicep contracted, tricep relaxed. Relaxed means it extends. And in the other diagram, you can see when the tricep contracted, bicep relaxed. So ultimately, what we have learned is alternatively by contraction and relaxation, the muscle moves and the arm also, lower arm or arm also comes, either bend, bends or straightens. So from this whole discussion of today, we had come to know about the muscle contraction, and this may lead to the bending and straightening of the arm with the help of alternative contraction of the biceps and the tricep muscle. Next class, we will discuss about the movement in animals. Till then, stay safe. Thank you.